Goodbye, Toe.
Ugh, where the hell am I? Oh, silly, you're in the literature club. What do you mean? I mean the club with all of our friends. Oh, right. Well, this really reminds me of Doki Doki Literature Club. Well, it sounds interesting, so let's talk about it. It'll help kill the time. Whatever. Okay, so I know what you're wondering. How is Doki Doki bad? Doki Doki's great! It's a very spoopy game! Well, the game's alright, I guess, but because of how heavily people have analyzed this game in the past couple of months, there's not much to say. Nearly every single detail has been pointed out. Nearly every single possible choice has been analyzed. It's to the point where you literally can't avoid spoilers about this game. And I thought FNAF was bad. Jesus Christ. So because of how, for the most part, 99% of things about this game that could have possibly been said have been said, I'm gonna do what I do best and nitpick the things I don't like about this game. And don't get me wrong, I love this game, not even as a game, but just as a story, as a narrative, and it really does do a good job of subverting your expectations. But at the same time, that doesn't mean it can't do some things wrong. Alright, so to start off, you know how I was praising this game for demolishing your expectations on a first run? Well, on a second run, when you're really analyzing the dialogue, you realize how the foreshadowing isn't really that subtle at all. It's like they're spelling out the plot, Jesus Christ. Like, for example, on the second day, when you're taking Natsuki's route and you're reading Animu mango shit, she outright says how the story of the manga is about high school friends who get in drama and eventually deal with romantic tensions. Like, come on guys. I know that's not bad, but when the main character, who I named Bob, because who doesn't love a Bob, is reflecting on the mango, he's talking about how slice of life narratives aren't entertaining to him because how the writing isn't entertaining enough. Like, guys, I get it. There's gonna be a plot twist. You turn out not to be the father. But there's easier ways to throw jabs without spelling it out. And let's compare this to a good way the game foreshadows events. At the very start. Okay, so you open up the game and it's like, don't play this if you're a little baby bitch boy. Which is already suspicious enough because like cute anime girls. But I want to mainly focus on a second best waifu, Monica. Like from the very start, her design is made to contrast with the other three girls. Having black stockings as opposed to white stockings, having a normal hair color, her name ending with an A as opposed to an I, the fact that she's looking directly at you, as opposed to the other girls who are just facing slightly towards you. Fucking creep. Dan Salvato, boy genius. But really, all these subtle details, things that some players with a sharp eye might notice but other players don't, it's really Jimmy Neutron shit. It's just a shame that this is the same game that needs to spell out issues with slice-of-life narratives instead of giving me something to think about. Like, I mentioned it before, but a better way of satirizing these kinds of novels is by exaggerating their issues. This leads to a ton of comedic potential and a thought-provoking satire. Like how on day 2 Yuri and Natsuki get into high school drama over poems or something. Well, imagine if instead the majority of day 2 they don't fight, you can have the main character complaining about how things are really fucking boring. And then imagine the next day, they're fighting over you, but as soon as they realize that you arrived, they pretend to be friendly friends. And you don't even have to keep the dialogue of the day before with Natsuki, because instead, this would exemplify how obsessive people can be when they're infatuated, showcasing how boring visual novels are, at least until people start acting like actual people, and it would lead to some potentially hilarious dialogue. I'm a fucking genius, give me a game, people. But yeah, speaking of video games, because I guess this counts as one, I don't know. The gameplay here, it sucks. It's like on the level of Sonic Forces. I do understand that the gameplay had to be undermined for the sake of fleshing out the characters, the potential routes you could take with each character, the dialogue, and pretty much every element about this game. It really wouldn't work if it was a JRPG where you fight demons. Like, what is this guy gonna do? Write them a mean poem? Force them to read manga? How dare you talk badly about manga? How do you know my grandparents? My great-grandparents fought for the rights of manga. My family was oppressed by the Japanese who tried to take away manga. You are offending me. I have a personal connection to manga. I live, I breathe, I come. Alright, we get it. You're gay. But yeah, as I was saying, the poem minigame, it sucks ass. And it's not difficult to learn, it's just trying to master it because you're not given any rules. Like from what I can gather, cute things appeal to Natsuki, happy things appeal to Sayori, and everything else that's depressing is Yuri sometimes, but sometimes not. And now this is nice if you're trying to take worse girls route, but like the distinction between what appeals to Natsuki, what appeals to Sayori, and what appeals to Yuri isn't really clear. Like, you know what could have fucking helped? Whenever you hover over a word, not every single word that appeals to them, but maybe just one on screen, maybe a certain character would jump. That would be a huge helper. I'm not fucking studying this guide for what appeals to who. I'm playing Doki Doki, not Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Like, maybe I just suck ass at this game, or Bob isn't a good writer. But like, I was trying to take the Natsuki route because she's the best girl, and then I accidentally chose Sayori. Like, what? Like, depression applies to Sayori, but disaster applies to Yuri. Like, do you see how confusing this is? And speaking of confusing, let's talk about the glitch. Like, I understand why during the second act things start to glitch out because Monica didn't take high school programming class, but I feel like they're really overused. Like, sure, when the second act starts and everything resets, I guess it kind of makes sense for like this, but still, like, I feel like the first 3 days of the second act, things should have been a little more subtle. You know, like maybe a character glitching out every now and then, but not it happening every 10 seconds. It gets to the point where instead of unsettling me that something is slightly off, the impact is significantly less. Like, really, what am I looking at here? When I'm seeing something glitch out all the time, it gets to the point where I don't really recognize that this shouldn't be happening. It gets to the point where I'm expecting it, like it doesn't go through my brain properly. And that's definitely not what they intended. Like, imagine up to Yuri's death, most things were just subtle split-second things that aren't enough to be obnoxious, something that you could easily miss. But if you pay attention, it's a little unsettling. Like, when things escalate to Yuri's death, it would make sense because that would be a natural progression of the glitches. And it would give off the impression that as time progresses, Monica can't even handle what she's trying to do, hence why she has to delete everything. Like, everything's snowballing out of control. Wouldn't that have been great? That's like a fucking analogy for life. Also, something that's been bugging me as well, considering that Monica outright states that you and Bob are separate entities, what do these glitches look like from the perspective of Bob? What does he see when Yuri reverses everything? What does he see when Monica appears over what a character is saying? From his perspective, is Yuri just trailing off? Maybe I'm overanalyzing this, but considering how we're apparently seeing everything from Bob's point of view, what does this look like to him? How is he assessing this? Why does he not say anything? It's like he's a silent protagonist, but at the same time, he's a character who has emotions independent of the player. It's really fucking confusing. And you know what? Can we just talk about Bob for a second? He's special. It's clear that he's supposed to be an awkward teenage boy, but really, the things he does are fucking stupid. Like, during the first day when he's introduced to everyone, he's essentially forced to join the literature club because he doesn't know how to shut his mouth. And it leads to some really awkward moments like, good job, asshole. And I know this isn't a good criticism. And to be fair, saying how stupid Bob is, it did lead to a lot of giggles, intentionally or not. But again, it's like he doesn't act like a person. I don't understand his thought process. Like, for example, when Sayori kills herself, you can see that Bob is clearly distraught. But why does he not comment about Yuri killing herself? Why does he not even comment about how things weird are? We're already given very bizarre scenarios. But is he used to this, or does he just not care? If Bob was being kidnapped, he would probably just be like, yeah, it's one of those days. And I suppose this could be to emphasize how it's about you feeling these situations, but that's such a cop-out. You need to establish some rules in these things. Like, at one point, if you take Natsuki's route when he's fooling around with her, he puts his finger in his mouth, and it's really, it's just, is this even legal? What are you doing, Bob? You could go to jail. So, what are you in for? Me? Oh, I put my finger in a girl's mouth. What about? So yeah, Doki Doki, it has things that annoy me. I don't know. Bob is confusing, glitches are confusing, the gameplay sucks donkey pee-wee. Some of the foreshadowing is just too obvious, but still. Despite how much I've been shitting on this game, I do genuinely enjoy DDLC. I love the characters, I love the character development, the conversations that have been started about meta-narratives, visual novels, Monica, the good side of the fandom, the memes, and it just really does manage to grip you in, assuming you're into this stuff like I am. I could spend forever talking about each and every aspect of this game, but literally everyone on YouTube has already done that, so I'll keep it short. I really did have to rack my brain for things to talk about beyond the 3-minute mark, just because I do really enjoy this game. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that I can't see its flaws, accept the flaws, and even maybe give some of my own ideas for how they can be fixed, because that's just how criticism works, you know? To conclude, Natsuki best girl. So yeah, Doki Doki, it's a thing. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, but Dan, do you know where the 3D printer is? In room 216. Alright, thanks. I wonder what that was about. Maybe, just maybe, if I can manage to 3D print a new Ashley on this computer, then maybe she'll exist in the real world. This idea is just, it's so crazy, it might actually work. Alright, now let's see here. Print and, yep. I'm a fucking genius. Tom, are you trying to revive Ashley? After she kidnapped you? She's fucking insane. Wait a second, how do you know about that? I am the club president after all. Shit. Come on, To, let's spend the rest of the lifespan of the universe together. You don't need anyone except me. Can't we get a burger first? Preferably for long enough for Ashley to re-exist. Are you stalling? Stalling? I'm not stalling. You silly goose. You're doing it right now. I'm not though. SpongeBob did this joke 14 years ago. Come on. No, I don't wanna. Ashley, are you alive? Aw, shit. Stop resisting. Help! 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 Look, To, I love you. I'm not even gay. Just let it happen. What the hell are y'all kids doing here? Having sex? Jesus Christ, in the computer lab? Don't king shame. Whatever, kids these days. Anyway. Ashley?
Yeah, it's me.
How are you alive? I thought my plane failed.
No, we just exist on a slow hard drive. Overwriting files takes a while.
Is that why you look like...
Yeah.
I thought you deleted yourself.
Well, I kinda forgot to empty the recycling bin, so I guess I still exist. Computer logic, am I right? It also means that when I get completely overridden, I won't remember anything. I'll probably be a different person altogether, which is why I'm gonna have to leave before I cause any harm. Take this and wipe everyone's mind.
What is this? Men in Black?
Shut up.
Anyway, wouldn't it make more sense to stay here?
Not really. I don't even know what's gonna happen when I'm fully overridden. Goodbye, To.
I really hope she doesn't do anything dumb.